Hey everybody. Hopefully this thing's working. I don't see my little numbers popping up. There it is. Um, so welcome to Deep Trance Wednesday. I'm going to do something fun today. It could run a little bit long, so if you're working and uh, you want to listen to this later, that'll be okay because I guarantee you, this will be a little bit trippy in terms of the type of stuff that I've done on video so far. I do this in my office, and today what we're going to do is called the movie theater. And I wanted to talk about a lot of people think about hypnosis in terms of taking away a habit or a behavior, but they really don't think about how we use our unconscious mind every single day to change our mood or change our emotional states. And getting control of your unconscious mind and getting control of your autonomic systems is kind of what we're going to be doing today. And what I'm going to do is a standard induction that I call the movie theater. But I'm also going to do something a little fun called a triple dissociation. And so if you're ready and you got a minute, I'd just like you to just take a big deep breath and close your eyes, because today we're going to go to the movies. And I know that the movie theaters are shut down right now, so that this might be a great treat to go to the movies. So go ahead and close your eyes, and we're going to go to the movies. And we've already picked out the movie. We just haven't picked out the movie theater. And this could be a movie theater that you went to when you were a kid. It could be a movie theater that you go to now. Or it could be some fantastic movie theater in the future. They just haven't built it yet. So when you decide which movie theater that you're going to attend, I want you to feel your feet. Just feel your feet walking you into the movie theater. And if you would, I'd like you to try something a little bit different. I don't know where you normally sit when you're in a movie theater, but today, what I'd like you to do is to go sit down on the very front row of the movie theater. And you just sit down and you've got this big white screen right out there in front of you. And as you're sitting there waiting for the movie to begin, what I'd like you to do is just allow yourself to float up and go all the way to the back of the theater, to the very last row, so that when you're sitting in the last row, that you can see the back of your head and you can see that movie screen. And I'd like you to just kind of associate into that for a minute and just kind of like take a breath. Because I'm going to ask you to do one more thing. I'm going to ask you to take another breath. And this time you're going to float up out of that you that's in the back row and all the way into the projection booth. Because I'm going to have you turn on the movie. So that you're looking out that little window and you can see out into the movie theater and you can see that you that's in the back row. And you can see that you that's on the front row. And you can see that great big movie screen. And as you're looking through that window, you might be noticing that there's a word that's trying to float or trying to appear on the screen. You can't quite make it out, because it's fuzzy or out of focus. So you decide that the easiest way to solve this problem that you're having is that you just once again allow yourself to float up just a little bit at first, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and you start floating towards the movie screen. And as you get closer and closer to the movie screen, that word comes into focus. Now, this word could be anything that you choose. It could be sleep. It could be relax. It could be drift. But it could also be any other word that you choose, because this word is a symbol or a signal from your unconscious mind that you're beginning to move into a very relaxed state of consciousness, a trance. And as you get closer and closer to the movie screen, you'll notice that that movie screen is getting larger and larger and larger. And pretty soon, that movie screen, it's so large, so huge, that you can float right through that word, right through that screen, over to this side, the back side of the movie screen, where it's even more comfortable and more relaxing than it was in any of those chairs that you were sitting in. And over on this side, you feel your body really beginning to drift. And whether you drift up, or if you drift down, or if you drift to the right, or if you drift to the left, you somehow know that it's the correct direction for you to go. And so that I can follow along with you, so that my voice will go with you, I'm just going to count from 10 all the way down to 1. And then what I'd like you to do is to relax your body just a little bit more with each number. Starting with 10 and 9, deeper relaxed, and 8 and 7, deeper relaxed, and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3, deeper relaxed, and 2 and 1. And regardless of whether you are floating up or floating down or floating to the left or floating to the right, you find yourself coming to a stop, and you're settling in and settling down into a space. And we keep track of so many different things in our life. You know, we have our normal schedule, and we have this crazy new schedule that we're doing. You got your kids' schedule, your relationship schedule, and your workout schedule. And all of these things, it's almost like a big carousel, you know, and each one of the horses on that carousel represent all of the things that you must do every day, every week, every month, every year. And that carousel is spinning and spinning and spinning, and the blinky lights are blinking and the music's blaring. But not today. Today, what I'd like you to do is imagine that you can walk around to the backside of the carousel. And when you get to the backside of the carousel, you're going to see this cord. And I'd like you to follow the cord all the way to the end. And it's going to come to a plug that's stuck in the wall. And with your dominant hand, I'd like you to reach up and grab that cord or that plug. And on the count of 3, I'd like you to unplug the carousel. 1, 2, 3. And you unplug the carousel, and the music stops. The blinky lights quit blinking, and the horses begin to slow down. Just a little bit at first, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, until finally, that carousel, it comes to a stop, and there's silence. It's peaceful. And you may be just looking at that carousel, maybe you're trying to figure out, who made it or what year it was made. Maybe you're looking at all the different uh, decorations. Maybe you're looking at all the horses' faces and are looking at their expressions, whatever it is that you're paying attention to. But in a moment, your attention is going to shift. And when you look at the center portion of the carousel, the wheelhouse, I want you to notice that there's a door. It's like, I hadn't seen that before. And when you look at the door, I want you to open up the door, and when you look inside of the center portion of the carousel, you might expect to find gears or some type of controls that power the carousel. But instead, you see a series of steps. And you're like, well, I've gone this far, might as well follow the steps, right? So you follow the steps, and, whether those steps go up or whether those steps go down or those steps go to the right or those steps go to the left, you already know it's the correct direction for you to go. And as you're following the steps, you're becoming more and more relaxed. And when you get to the very last step, it opens up into a wide corridor. This is the corridor beneath your mind. It's comfortably lit. It's well appointed. The temperature is perfect. And as you're walking down this corridor, it feels very, very comfortable and familiar. Your favorite art is on the wall, and the floors are exactly the way that you expect them to be. The colors are on the walls are very soothing. And you're walking down this corridor. On one side of the corridor is this great big room. You can't miss it. I mean, it runs the whole length of the corridor. Kind of looks like a library. And that's exactly what it is. That's your library of learning. So that everything that you've ever seen or heard or touched or tasted or thought about or dreamed about, it's all right in there. And I encourage you to come back here anytime that you wish and reorganize this library so that all that information is available to you, both consciously and unconsciously. But today we're going to concern ourselves with the other side of the corridor, the side with all of those doors. And as you're walking down the corridor, it's just doors, 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 doors. And when I'm doing my corridor thing, I have doors on the floor and doors on the ceiling and doors on the wall. It's just doors, doors, doors. Now, one of these doors is going to seem more attractive than any other door. Maybe it's a different color, or maybe it's a different shape, or maybe your favorite music is playing behind that door. But when you find that door, or you just sense that it's right there, I want you to walk up to it and just open it up and step inside. You step inside of a space. Now, it could be a room, it could be a forest, it could be a beach, it could be anything that you choose. Because the inside of that space is far less relevant than what you felt when you walked into that space. You felt something really familiar, very, very familiar and attractive to you. And you look around inside of that space and you see that part of you that really, really needs to talk to you today. He or she has something that they need to say, or they need to be seen, or they need to be felt, or they just need to be observed in a way that validates what it is that you've been experiencing. And I don't want to pretend that, I know what's going on inside of you. I just know that we all have different things that we need to process. And what I'd like you to do is walk up to that part of you and say, hi, I'm me. I'm you out there in the world. You're me in here. And this bald guy told me that if I came down here and we could have a conversation, that maybe we could work some stuff out. Maybe you have something that you need to teach me, or maybe I have resources that you need. Maybe you have resources that I need. Whatever your conversation is between you and you. And what I'd like you to do is just take a few moments and just strike up a conversation with that part of you that really went to a lot of trouble to get to see you today. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to ask this part of you 3 questions. Question number 1 is, what does she or he really, really want? Down at their core, what do they want? And when you know what that is, and I'll just give you a moment, when you know what that is, you can just nod your head. I know nobody can see you, but just nod your head. And what I'd like you to do is look around inside of that space, because you're going to see another door. And I want you to walk over and open up that door. And it's one of those cool doors, you open up the door, light comes on, close the door, light comes off. When you open up the door, the light comes on and you look inside. And what you have discovered is a resource closet. Every imaginable resource is in there. It's got peace and love. It's got joy and happiness. It's even got the winning lotto tickets if you know where to look. And whatever it is that this part of you wanted, I'd like you to reach into the closet, pull it out, walk over, and hand it to him or hand it to her. And when they've got it right there in their hands, I want you to do something extra. I want you to do something that never happens in the outside world. I want you to ask them, what else do you want? And when you know what that is, you go back to the resource closet and you get that, bring it over, and hand it to them. And you kind of set up like an economy, and I hope that you're wearing comfortable shoes, because for you, it's back and forth and back and forth to the closet, getting this part of you, whatever it is that they want, whether it's a thing or a concept or an idea. Maybe they need a new job. Maybe they need to retire from the job that they're doing, whatever it may be. But eventually, this part of you is going to go, okay, I have everything that I want. And now it's time for the second question. Because I want you to ask this part of you, what do they need? Because we all have our wants, but we need our needs. So I want you to ask this part of you, what is it that you really, really need? And when you know what that is, I want you to go back to the resource closet and bring that out and hand it to them. And very similar to the I want question, I want you to go back and forth to the closet, getting this part of you, whatever it is that he or whatever it is that she needs at this moment. And if you need extra time, please, always feel free to, pause the video. And when that part of you has everything they want, and when that part of you has everything that they need, you can restart the video. And this will bring you to the third question. The third question is, what do they need to have happen? Now, that might sound like a little brain twister for your conscious mind, but your unconscious mind knows exactly what I'm talking about. So when you ask that part of you, what is it that he or what is it that she needs to have happen, go to the resource closet and get whatever that may be so that they can be complete, so that they can be happy, so that they can be fully grown up and reintegrated with who you are and who you're becoming. And like I said, anytime that you need to stop this video, just go ahead and stop. And when that part of you has everything that they need to have happen, just restart the video. And now they're pretty much complete. They have everything they want. They have everything that they need. And whatever it is that they needed to have happen has happened. I only have one more question for you to ask. And that question is I want you to ask that part of you to give you back all of your power, give you back all of you in a way that's congruent with who you are and who you're becoming. And I want you to thank that part of you. I want you to thank that part of you for being so easy to get along with. And please take the time to exchange, information so that this part of you can talk to you, in your dreams, or talk to you, when you're driving your car and you have this great idea, or you see, a billboard and it reminds you of something that you really, really needed to remember. But for right now, I want you to come out of that room, and I'd like you to walk all the way down to the end of the corridor. And if you're from Texas, these instructions will make perfect sense to you. You just keep on going until you get to the end. So when you get to the end of the corridor, you're going to come to this great big door. Can't miss it. And on the door, or above the door, or below the door are the words safe space. Because everybody needs a safe space. And if you've listened to any of the other audios that are in videos that I've done, your safe space can look at any way that you want. It can be as big or as small as you wish, as long as it feels safe. And I want you to go into the safe space and kind of wander around and orient yourself. And make sure that there's plenty of wide open spaces, if that feels comfortable to you. Plenty of stars at night, blue skies during the day, perfect temperature. And as you're wandering around in your safe space, trying to figure out what that cloud right there looks like, I want you to notice that there's an object in the sky, and it kind of looks like a balloon. And it's like, no, not really. It gets a little bit closer. No, definitely. It's a hot air balloon. It's the right shape. It's the right color. It even has a little basket hanging underneath it. And as it gets closer and closer and closer, it appears to be getting larger and larger and larger. Until pretty soon you've got a full-size hot air balloon landing very gently in your safe space. Now, I don't know about you, but if a hot air balloon landed out here, in my backyard, you got to go look at it, right? So that's what I'd like you to go do, is go take a look. Go push all the buttons, pull all the levers, get to know your hot air balloon. You may even find a note that says that this hot air balloon was specifically made for you, so that you could dispose of all of the things that you no longer want, no longer need, or no longer have a use for. So the question is, what are you going to put in the balloon? A lot of people recently, they've had a lot of fear. And if you've had any fears, just go ahead and throw it into the basket. Any anger, any resentment, or any depression, just go ahead and toss it. Any illness, any injuries, anything, your unconscious mind has the power to dispose of, to create space inside of you so that you can create something completely new and wonderful in your life. Now, one of the things that I frequently tell people is I'd also like you to go up into the filing cabinet in your mind where you store all of your beliefs. And one of the beliefs that I would like you to try on, just for a day, maybe a week, is a lot of people think that change, particularly personal change, is hard, and it takes a long time and sometimes it's painful. That's a really non-useful belief. So I'd like you to grab a hold of that belief and toss it and reach up on the filing cabinet, get a brand new belief paper and a fresh pen. And I'd like you to try this belief out. Change is quick and easy and fun. And when you write that out, just put it in the filing cabinet where that old belief was. And I'll give you a few minutes, to like get rid of all of the stuff that you no longer want and you no longer need or you no longer have use for. And after a while, that basket's going to get kind of full. And, don't worry if you remember something later, you can always just toss it over your shoulder and it'll find its way to the basket. But for right now, I want you to just give that basket a shove and let it lift up into the air higher and higher and higher. And as that balloon and basket gets higher and higher and higher, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until it's just a dot on the horizon of your mind. And when that balloon and that basket cross over the horizon of your mind, all that stuff, all those things that you got rid of, they're gone forever. But that good feeling and all that space that you've created in your mind and your body remains. And like I said, you can always pause this video whenever you want to, if you want to enjoy your safe space for a little while, or if you're listening to this at night, just go ahead and turn your video off and enjoy a very, very pleasant night's sleep. But for the rest of you, it's time to come back into the corridor. And I'd like you to walk back up the corridor, and you could stop at that door that you were in that room that you went in, stick your head in and say, hey, I'll be back. We're going to talk some more. And you just keep walking back all the way back to the path. And you're going to walk back up the path or down the path or to the right or to the left. And when you get all the way back to the carousel, you're going to step out of the carousel. And let's just go ahead and leave that carousel unplugged for right now so that you can just remain relaxed. And pretty soon you're going to feel yourself beginning to float up. Just a little bit at first, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and you feel yourself traveling at a fairly quick rate of speed till you feel yourself flowing back into the movie theater and all the way back to the projection booth. And you're looking through that little window and you're like, it's probably time for me to come back. So I want you to float out of the projection booth and into that you that's sitting at the back of the theater. And you feel yourself orient into your body. And you see that you sitting down front. And I want you to float all the way down front and associate into that you that's sitting on the front row. Because it's time for the movie to begin. That movie that we call life. And in just a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. And when I say the number 5, you're going to come all the way back out here and open your eyes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And the last number, eyes open, 5, wide awake. So thank you for going on this path with me. And like I said, you can use this particular video to access things that you do really well. You can access things that you don't do really well that you'd like to by giving it resources. You can rebuild your history. A lot of people don't know this, but like prior to me doing hypnosis, I used to be like insanely, painfully shy. I couldn't talk. You could forget about me ever being on a video, much less doing, this sort of thing. Hypnosis works. And thank you for being here today. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about something interesting. Please like and share this. Once again, if you need to talk, please take the time to go to my website, Dr. Michael Harris, or Nobody Wants Therapy, and join the newsletter and get a free 15-minute consultation. And I'll see you tomorrow.